I was at a point with my acne where I kept going through the same painful things over and over and over. And I don't know what was going to happen, but if something didn't change, something inside of me was going to snap. And I don't know if you can relate with that. I don't know if that's something that you feel also, but I want to share with you guys something that I changed because it was the most important thing I ever did in my life. And if I didn't do that, I seriously don't know what would have happened. So let me back it up a little bit just to give you guys a little bit of context. If you've never seen me before, especially if you've never seen my acne before, it was pretty severe at its most severe. And I'll put pictures and videos up right now so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. For most people, when they would see my acne in person, they would literally be shocked and they would say something, right? And it would hurt every time they would say something. So that was something I was dealing with over and over and over every single day. This pain every day that I'd have to face, whether I wanted to or not. I'm sure you relate. Okay, now before I get too deep into this, because it is definitely about to get really deep, I really should mention my acne program. It's called the Acne Method. Definitely, it's all of the stuff that I've learned that has helped me to clear my acne, but also build confidence and really get through a lot of this stuff like I'm about to tell you. But let me get into this. If you have acne, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but you get into routines, just like everybody does who doesn't have acne. But when you have acne, you have a special routine. Every morning you wake up and you immediately go to the mirror and analyze your face, or you feel pain on your face so you know before you even get to the mirror. So you immediately start your day with this neural pattern, right? This brain pattern of let's go see the negative of today. How bad is it going to be? Or hopefully it's not as bad as it's been before, right? And so you start this pattern, this routine, and it gets built into your brain. Now, of course, that's just the start of the day. I could go through every other pattern and routine that we build, but you know what I'm talking about. You go to work, you go to school, you think that the next routine might be, what are people going to say about this new pimple on my face? Or what conversation am I going to have about this? Or how am I going to do that presentation? You know, you get the idea, right? But I think a lot of us know that our thoughts are our reality, right? What we think really shapes how we feel heavily. And if we're always stuck in these routines, it can continue to grind on you, especially if the routine is a negative one and it's day in, day out. Okay, so here's where it gets juicy and here's where I can seriously improve your life. I call this kind of thing a chapter of your life, right? Basically, we get put into these chapters where we have a lot of the same routines. There's a doctor called Dr. Joe Dispenza who talks about this. He calls it neural patterning. And a lot of times we're literally turning off our brain and just checking into that pattern because we do it every single day. And that can be a good or a bad thing. Basically, it's autopilot, but it's really bad if your autopilot is really bad, right? It's just driving your life insane and bad. It just feels terrible. So you have these chapters in your life, and when you get to the end of a chapter and you can turn a new chapter, what that basically means is that you're changing either everything or something so significant that your focus is completely changed, because in this chapter you're reading about this new chapter you're reading about something new. Okay, follow me? You might notice these great big sequoia trees behind me, especially if you've followed the channel for a long time. You might be wondering, what the heck am I doing out here? If you look this way, can I show you? I'm actually traveling the country in my van and living in my van, which is insane, right? But the reason why is because I was starting to get into another chapter. I was getting to the end of a chapter rather, and I was getting tired of the routine that was happening in this chapter of my life. And I could feel that it was wearing on me. And it wasn't maybe as bad as, you know, what I'm talking about when my acne was at its most severe and I was in that chapter. But we hit these points in our chapters where we say, okay, I've read this chapter. I'm ready to turn the chapter to the next one. I'm ready to start a new one. And that's when we have to change things in our life. That will bring us so much, not only happiness and joy, but just inspiration to live life. Because the worst feeling is when you don't even care about living life. You just want the next day to come. You just want to move through this chapter. And imagine you never end that chapter. You just let that chapter keep going on and on. It's like a bad book. You're like, this writer's terrible. Don't let yourself be a bad writer. So here's what you came for. Here's the secret sauce. Here's what you need to do. Here's what I did that literally changed my life and kept me from doing something that I probably, don't even want to think about. So my acne was extremely severe. I was dealing with my own self-detrimental thoughts. I was dealing with other people making fun of me because it was during high school. So you know how people are very judgmental at that age. And I was just tearing myself down over and over. That was my routine. That was the chapter I was stuck in. So my focus was all on that. basically saved me. But what basically changed my chapter, the next one, was I found something that I was not only interested in, but deeply fiery, extremely hard to even put into words, passionate about. That wasn't easy to do, right? It's not like I just Googled stuff to be passionate about, but I was doing different things in my life, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I found something that just spoke to me. And I know this will sound crazy for some of you, but for me, that was bodybuilding, right? I was just in love with the idea of being able to go somewhere where no one could tell me what to do. Nobody could give me their opinion that would actually change anything. It didn't matter if I had a face full of acne. It didn't matter if somebody thought I was ugly that day or told me they would never date me. That happened. True story. Girl said that to me. Ridiculous. I could go into that gym and it was all and entirely up to me, the results of what would happen. And that gave me this deep feeling of empowerment that I had completely lost with acne, because a lot of times when you have acne, you feel like you have no power. You have no choice. You're going to wake up and you're going to have who knows what on your face. You could have a completely new breakout. And it doesn't matter if you have a date or if you have a speech to give, you're not in control of it. And that is a terrible feeling. It's so unempowering, right? And so for me, that was bodybuilding. The next thing after bodybuilding was filmmaking. And so those two kind of came in right about the same time, maybe about a year separate. But my focus was able to be entirely on bodybuilding and then adding in there filmmaking. And it was just something that felt so good. So when I was still, because you can't change a lot of things, right? Like I was able to leave my house and pack up and live in a van. That's everything changing. But the reality is a lot of us won't be able to leave school. We won't be able to leave our job, stuff like that, right? So you have to change your focus, which then changes your reality. Even though you will still be in the same location, you'll still be working in the same place or dealing with the same people, your focus will change your reality. Let me change my focus because it's getting bright. Okay, so to round this up, because I could ramble about this for a lot longer, the secret of what you need to do right now, if you are feeling the way that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, is start looking at different things, start trying different things. It will not be easy. It will take a while to find something that truly grabs your heart and squeezes it with passion, but eventually you will find that thing, and that could be sports, it could be music, it could be filmmaking, it could be hiking, it could be camping, it could be traveling, it could be meeting people online, it could be learning English, Spanish, it could be anything. There's so many cooking, there's so many things, right? But you'll know when you find it, right? It's kind of like how people say, you'll know when you're in love because you'll just know. You'll know that you're in love with your passion because you'll know. So attack that with as much vigor as you can, right? Make it a routine in your life to try and find your passion. And when you find it, dedicate all of your time to it, right? Because it's still easy to be lazy about following your passion. But when you know you love it, when you know that at the end of whatever, the session of doing your passion, whatever, like let's say it takes 30 minutes or an hour, at the end of it, you feel incredibly powerful. You feel your body filled with electricity. All of the things that earlier were bothering you about the day, what people said about you, your insecurities, all that stuff, you aren't even thinking about just for a moment, right? They'll come back and, in an hour or two, you'll start thinking about that stuff again. But for that moment, you're free. And then focus as much energy, passion, and time into it as you can, because that absolutely will change the chapter that you're in. And you'll start thinking of all the stuff that you thought was major, that was really bringing you down. You'll start thinking of that as small fries, small stuff. I know it sounds crazy, but at this point in my life, when I had found my passion for bodybuilding filmmaking, all of those people in high school, they started to feel like NPCs, which for non-video game people, that means a non-player character. So they just felt like people that were filling my video game or my simulation. They did not feel real to me because I didn't care what their opinion was, because what their opinion wasn't going to change my reality, right? I had something much bigger to focus on that was a multi-year thing that I was going to do for 5, 10, 15 years. I'm still doing it. It's 14 years after I started, and it has still kept my passion and my focus to this day. And it still fills me with joy every time I get to engage with that passion. So that is my advice for you today that I really want you to take. As I think you can probably surmise, one of my other passions that I ran into is talking about my acne and opening up about my self-consciousness and about, my insecurities with this, because it fills me with fire to be able to basically reach out to somebody who I look at as my little brother, my little sister, or my son or my daughter, or just myself when I was younger. I just know that a helping hand means more than people can even imagine. Just someone being kind to you for a moment can change your life. And so I realized this is one of my passions. So that's why I wanted to share this video and really this thought, because this is like such a secret weapon that I don't think people are realizing is as useful and helpful as it really is. So I hope this resonates with you. And if you have any further thoughts on this, if you have any questions on this, please leave them in the questions below. I will try to answer every single question that I possibly can. And yeah, of course, subscribe, because there will be more content like this. Of course, as always, if you are looking for my favorite skincare brand, it is all vegan, all cruelty-free, all made in small batches. So they make it every Monday, literally every week. So the products you're getting are less than a week old, unlike the stuff that's on the shelf that's a couple years old. Those ingredients have degraded and are not as effective. So you can check it out. It's called Banish. You can use my link, banishbrian.com, and my discount code Brian5, which gets you a $5 discount. Seriously, the best stuff in the world. For me, I use it for my acne scarring. So if you notice, I don't really have that much scarring after all that the severe acne that I did have. It's helped a lot. So yeah, check that out if you would like to. Give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the very next one. Remember, you are not alone, you are beautiful, and you're part of Team Acne. Peace.